Hey guys, welcome back. Last time we talked about aesthetic mods that we did to the M3. This time we're gonna talk about performance mods. Time to make this thing go fast. Right here, we have some fuel system stuff. We'll go over all of the parts. I've lightly unboxed them so I can show you, kind of talk about why I chose this path, what it should make wheel horsepower wise, and all of that fun stuff. So let's dive in. The purchase with the M3 happened pretty fast. I randomly had been seeing M3s popping up, going faster and faster at the track. I then saw Javier at that racing channel build his G80, and that thing was stupid fast. I bought one literally 3 days later. So that's where we started. I immediately started looking at going to single turbo upgrade. I was going built motor, I was going crazy. Then once I jumped in and drove it, I figured that it's pretty good from the factory. And if we just maxed out the stock turbos for the first portion of the build, that would be a good starting point. I think around 750, 780 wheel horsepower on full E85. It's gonna be pretty sick. Before we dive into the parts and what I chose, after doing research, and I'm sure most of you have done the same if you're looking to mod your M3, I knew that you could go like E50 without adding much, if anything at all really, to the fuel system. However, upon doing more research, that is running lean mixtures for your motor, and there can be some variation in fuel delivery at the ragged edge. So I chose to add port injection and kind of beef up the fuel system so we could go full E85 and max out the stock turbos. And I mentioned this in the last video. I want to keep this car as quiet as possible. I don't want rasp, I don't want loud. I'm gonna drop a clip right now on my CTSV so you'll see why I want something quiet. Also, one other thing, do your research. However, once you choose a tuner, talk to them before you buy anything to make sure what you're buying is what they like to tune, parts they deal with. They'll give recommendations. I highly suggest just doing that. It's going to give you the best result, the least amount of headaches, and give you ultimately the best bang for your buck. So I did just that. I found my tuner, I chose bend calibration, reading a lot of good reviews, a lot of reliable, fast cars, good results. So that's where I started. I emailed back and forth with them. They got great communication, told them what I wanted to do. They told me kind of direction to head in. So we ended up going with MHD Plus for tuning purposes. I obviously have my DME back in my car. However, you have to remove it and send it out to Femto. I did that process already, so now my DME is unlocked and ready to make some pew pew. Up first, we have the MHD Bluetooth adapter for your OBD2 port. In order to flash the DME, that's what I'm going to use. You have it all on your phone, so if you're out and about and you want to change tunes, whatever that may be, actually you don't even need it to change tunes. You can do it on the fly now, but yep, this is in order to tune it on the dyno, we are going to need this. So up next, we have this PFS drop-in low pressure fuel pump. It is a complete replacement for your stock unit. I chose this for simplicity. Simply remove the old stock unit, drop this in place, and you are good to go. This will help maintain pressure in your fuel system for up to around 900 wheel horsepower with your port injection setup. On full 85. I noticed when I opened the box, they gave me a little fuel cap cover. If you can see that there, E85 only. That was kind of cool, I didn't expect that. Up next is the PFS billet fuel rail for the stock manifold. That's intake manifold, guys. I chose to stay with the stock intake manifold for now. I don't foresee the boost required to make 750 wheel horsepower is going to be enough to pop it. I could be wrong. However, that's what I chose to do now to keep costs down because as we all know, the aftermarket intake manifolds are pretty pricey. They start anywhere from $2,500 up to $6,000. So I cheaped out for now, kept it simple. And in order to control port injection properly and integrate it with your DME, we have the Reflex. Package really nice, cool box, magnetic. Everything is separated and labeled. So complete plug and play harness. So that's pretty cool. I like it. Packaging's cool, but ultimately I like what it does, how it integrates. So you can keep all the stock features, safety features. So if any of the injectors don't fire in your port injection system, you don't cook your motor. Nobody wants that. So yeah, this is the ticket. And the final part for port injection is injectors. We went with ID 1050s per my tuner's recommendation. Solid company, one of the best in the business. Consistency, reliability. As I mentioned, you don't want to cook your motor, so don't skimp out on fuel system. That keeps your engine alive. One item I don't have yet, I'm still waiting on it, should be in the next couple days, should show up, is the flex sensor, the actual flex fuel sensor with the line in order to route it into the fuel lines. So that's the only item I'm missing. Otherwise, we do have the complete setup to get my car dialed in on full E85. So on top of that, we are going to keep this thing quiet. I know I've said this several times, that is my top priority. Obviously we want to go fast, it'd be quick and have fun, but I want this thing quiet as can be. So we are opted to do BMC drop-in filters for the air intake system. The OEM system flows really well. So that's a simple, easy method, 200 bucks, replace the filters. I was gonna rip out the charcoal filter, however, in 2025, it didn't come inside of the lid of the airbox. So you double check yours, depending on the year, but you might not even need to remove it. Also, a fun fact that I learned along the way is the OEM downpipes with all of the factory cats in place will have enough flow to make more than 700 wheel horsepower. So I'm going to leave the exhaust system completely stock as it came from the factory, and we're gonna see what this little bad boy makes. So the most important part, horsepower. I know I've kind of dropped a little bit of the information in, but the projected wheel horsepower on full kill on full E85 should be somewhere around 750 with my setup on an accurate dyno. We're going to baseline bone stock before we dig into any of the tuning. It will be tuned on 91, as well as every ethanol percentage all the way till full E, which mine comes out of the pump here, 83-ish usually when I test it or have my content analyzer and my CTSV reading. So yeah, that's what we can expect. This is going to happen next week, maybe the following, depending on timing. Hopefully everyone's schedule allows to get this put together quickly and hit the rollers, make some pew pew. So the next video that I post should be at the shop, getting parts installed, and then on the dyno at the shop, getting it remotely tuned from bin calibration. That will be a great video. We'll see what it really does, and then we'll do some ride-alongs. Actually, I'm gonna do it before 60 to 130, see what it does in decent DA. The DA is horrible right here, right now. It's in the 3,000 plus since it's so hot. However, next week it's supposed to cool down. So once the temp drops and we get decent DA, I'll do a 60 130, see where we're at. I'll do one after, see where it's at, and then we'll find great DA this winter, some negative 1,000, 1,400, and see what it can do optimally. So for now, I think that's pretty much it. Covered all the bases on the fuel system. Like I said, this was my choice from my research that I did, that is the most solid, safe way to run your car on full E85 and pretty much max out the stock turbos. So yeah, That's what I did. If you want to do it, do it. If you want to do it cheap, but joke's on you if the motor pops. All right, guys, see you next time.